Lebanon's parliament has gathered for the first time since the deadly explosion in Beirut. Lawmakers have approved a 2-week state of emergency already imposed by the government. It gives the military exceptional powers, including suppressing protests, raiding homes, and imposing house arrests. Angry citizens have demonstrated outside the UNESCO Palace during the parliamentary session. Many say mismanagement and corruption led to the incident. More than 170 people have died and some 6,000 have been injured. Up to 40 people are still missing. The damage from the explosion is estimated to top $15 billion. The government is now under increasing pressure to rebuild the capital, but the strain on the healthcare system has hampered efforts. Humanitarian aid has been pouring in, both locally and from abroad. But foreign countries warn that funds will only be provided if reforms are made. A senior US official is due to arrive in Beirut and will stress the urgent need to end corruption.
Lebanon was already reeling from an economic crisis and a medical crisis when the blast occurred. Hospitals had been under strain from the coronavirus pandemic, and now families are being pushed into poverty. Singapore Red Cross has pledged $50,000 in humanitarian aid. Joining us tonight is Naji Hamie from Temasek, who aims to raise another 200,000 Singapore dollars for affected families. Mr. Hamie, thanks for joining us. Now, you're doing this in your personal capacity. Tell us what inspired you to raise funds for the victims of the Beirut blast.
Sure. Thank you for having me. If you'd allow me, maybe I spend 2 minutes just to put things in context and mention to where Lebanon is, and as you mentioned earlier, in terms of what has been happening over the last 10 months, which led to this absolute humanitarian disaster. So when we start with facts on the blast, this is one of the most powerful non-nuclear blasts in the history of mankind. It happened in an area which is in the heart of the center of the city, at the port of Beirut, which is the main lifeline of the country. We import everything gets imported through this port. Many thousands of people have lost their homes, lost their jobs, lost people. Most importantly, if we look at the death toll, we are so far at 200, and it might go up further. 6,000 injured, 300,000 people rendered homeless overnight, without any safety net, no welfare state to look after them, no job, no savings. This is the state of the country. And unfortunately, this comes at the back of a very, very tough year. We had a compounded crisis which entails an utter economic collapse, a currency that has devalued by almost all of its value. The country has defaulted on its international debt obligation for the first time in history. And then the question why? Because of decades of systematic corruption and the dysfunctional style of government. Then we have, obviously, the issue of the refugees, 1.5 million refugees against a population of 5 million. This puts us as the highest concentration of refugees in any one country in the world. And then, obviously, COVID happened. It doesn't spare anyone, as we know, in every country. The hospitals got overwhelmed. So, unfortunately, this humanitarian tragedy comes at the back of many misfortunes that this country has gone through. So why I got involved? Obviously, I'm originally from Lebanon. I've spent all my youth there. I still have very strong connectivity to Lebanon. My family is there. And despite that, the fact that Singapore is home, I still have lots of connections. I go there all the time. Now, I'm not alone in that. We are a bunch of volunteers, people of the diaspora who want to help. And what we're trying to do is to help the NGOs on the ground, because these are the NGOs who have taken the place of the government. And we have volunteers, youth, students, and scouts and others, rich and poor kids, doing all the work that the government is supposed to do day in and day out. So these are the people we are trying to help, because through them we can get to the right people. So what happened is when I heard about what the Singapore Red Cross is doing and the donation of $50,000 and the fundraise program that they put together, which, by the way, we are absolutely grateful for, we got in touch with them and we decided to help raise funds. So we have a target of 200,000, and in the last few days we have managed to to raise 150,000. And I want to thank, there's more than 1,000 people that have donated to this. I want to obviously provide many thanks to the people who have donated. And I want to specifically say that it's so heartwarming to see fellow Singaporeans who have absolutely no connectivity to Lebanon donating and writing the wonderful message that we have got. So that was what compelled myself as well as many others to be involved in this effort.
Yeah, I can see it's a cause close to your heart. You are close to reaching your target as well. Where are you hoping that this money is going to be spent, and what is the urgent need on the ground for this funds?
So through the SRC program, they pledged that all the money will go to the Lebanese Red Cross. The Lebanese Red Cross is at the forefront, helping people in need, providing food and providing medical supplies and others. So everything we're raising through this effort will go to the Lebanese Red Cross. And on the side, what we're doing besides that is we're trying to help other NGOs as well, which are doing a wonderful job on the world. There are too many of them, but we're trying to focus on specifically 2 of them because we think that they have been targeting all along the most vulnerable people in the society, and they have refurbishing their homes before the winter comes, providing food, cleaning the rubbles and others. So we are trying to help these 2 organizations as well.
Okay, we wish you all the best with your endeavors. Thank you for speaking with us this evening. Nagi Hamie there from Temasek.